Panie i panowie, DarksydePhil w końcu się przyznał, że konto WWE Champions o nazwie They Call Me DSP, a potem Down from the Rafters, jest jego kontem. Dla przypomnienia, WWE Champions to gra typu gacha z bardzo agresywną monetyzacją. Wszystkie drogi prowadziły do tego, że wyżej wspomniane konto należało do Phila, ten jednak zaprzeczał przez 7 lat. Każdy, kto wspomniał o tym w jego czacie, był nazywany śliniącym się niedorozwojem, idiotą psychicznym i tym podobne. Jednak teraz Phil ogłosił, że to jest jego konto. A raczej było, bo widzicie, podczas przyznawania się Phil znowu skłamał, bo jest on patologicznym kłamcą. Phil twierdzi, że w pewnym momencie konto sprzedał, co, jeśli jest prawdą, sprzeciwia się zasadom gry i groziłoby zbanowaniem jego obecnych kont. I oczywiście konta Down from the Rafters. Wiele wskazuje jednak, że tak nie uczynił i że konto Down from the Rafters jest jednak jego. Co oznaczałoby, że Phil wydał już około $150,000 na grę i oczywiście, że nadal kłamie. Jego kłamstwo ma jednak daleko idące problemy. Między innymi przyrzekł on swojej żonie, że nie będzie on już nałogowo grał w gry mobilne, więc przyrzeczenie złamał. Kłamał on też podczas wywiadu ze Side Scrollers. Kłamał on swoim widzom i zbanował niezliczoną ilość ludzi, którzy o WWE Champions wspominali. Najpewniej kłamał on też podczas posiedzenia sądowego w sprawie jego bankructwa, gdzie wpisał mikrotransakcje za WWE Champions jako wydatki związane z działalnością. Kłamał on swoim koleżkom z Kino Casino. Kłamał swoim rodzicom i oczywiście kłamał swoim fanom, których prosił o pieniądze na rachunki i jedzenie, a których ostatecznie okradał z kasy, którą wydawał masowo na grę mobilną. Oto klip, który dostarczył AN1337.
So, here's the thing. I'm about to tell you the actual truth. However, there's still people who aren't going to believe it. There's still people who will never be satisfied no matter what I tell you. All right? They're going to say I lied. They're going to say this is bullshit, right? And so, this is only for those who actually are capable of like rational thought and considering the truth and things like that, okay? All right. You already know I have a history of spending money on mobile games. I've already admitted it, okay? Everything that I said in that segment on stream was a lie. Literally, every time someone asked me about WWE Champions, I lied. Every single fucking time. Because to me, my personal spending, things I was doing off stream, was no one's business. Okay? And every time someone brought it up, I'm like, this is so stupid. This is dumb. You know what I'm saying? And I just lied to get it out of the way. And I tried so hard for so long to lie about it, to get people to just forget about it. But I forgot, well, not really forgot, but I definitely underestimated the anal nature of these people who stalk me, all right? A couple things they outright got me on, like, for example, the Discord thing. I had no idea about any of that. I was incredibly ignorant, okay, of all of it. I didn't know any of that shit. So I had no clue that they could, like, track a Discord versus, like, numbers on your name and shit like that. So, you know, for me, here's the thing. You really, if you're a person who's coming to my stream and you just want to watch the content and have fun, do you want to hear about this shit? My fans did not care about me playing WWE Champions. My fans did not care about any of that shit. All right? When I was doing a fundraiser for a week to pay taxes, yeah, that's literally what it was. Yeah, there was some misspeaking and things over time about exactly directly where the money was going, but it was because I was kind of desperate for that week, you know. But the WWE Champions thing, 100%, again, I just always lied about it because I thought it wasn't important. It was just something that my detractors were trying to do. Because, again, they tried to get me time and time again over the years, so many times for stupid shit that wasn't true. They had finally found one stupid little thing that they got me on, right? So I'm going to tell you this the truth now. But, again, many of you are not going to believe it. I can't make you believe it. And I'm gonna open up for the first time about this topic ever right now here tonight. And some of you, if this is it for you and you can't take it and you want to leave and you're not gonna come back, I can't stop you. All right, I can't. But for those who've been here through this journey with me, by 16 years as a content creator, this crazy month I just had of resurgence, you know, I would hope that the things that people have been saying to me are true. That you don't care about my past and the shit that I was doing, you know, that was stupid and bad. Because I admit it was stupid and bad, okay? All right, so Ready? Admission number 1. Yes, the They Call Me DSP account in WWE Champions is my account. Okay? That's admission number 1. It is. It always was. Okay? Now, it was very stupid of me to name it They Call Me DSP. You might say, why was he so dumb to name that account that? Because when I opened it in 2017, when the game launched, I didn't think anyone was going to ever give a fuck about my mobile game spending. I had already played games such as Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Supercard, WWE Supercard, and others as well. And like for me, it was like, who cares? Like, who would ever give a shit? I had already publicly posted and talked about playing those games, spending money on them and shit, right? So I never in my wildest dreams thought that it would ever blow up in the way that it did. Okay? Fair enough. So what ended up happening was the game came out, 2017? And I barely played it that hardcore, like the first year or so, I would say. It wasn't until the second year where the game actually got like redesigned to be more serious of a game. And so then it kind of warranted more time, more spending, etc. Well, I played it for what? It came out in 2017. So I would say I played it for like 2.5 years. And I think about year 1 or 2, like a year in, 2 years in, it got, to the point where everyone wanted to form guilds and factions because big events were being based in the game around that. So that's when I joined my first faction. And I was, playing along with the faction. At the time, I was low. I wasn't, I didn't have a good account or anything. They were teaching me along the way on how to play the game and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I don't remember. The time frame is going to be completely wrong in my head. I can't tell you times of anything because I don't know because I never tracked it. Eventually, after being with this group for a while, I became one of the leaders of the faction. Okay? So, and then I was with them probably a year more. Okay? And so, of course, there's going to be there was Discord, chats and things like that. There never was an issue with any of this. Never. And then all of a sudden, somehow, someone had discovered that there was a WWE Champions name of my name. And I guess what it is someone who had played the game, knew how the accounts worked or whatever, and they did money. And they said, he spent thousands of dollars on the game, right? Based on some calculation that they had made. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what it is because I don't watch my detractors shit. Okay? And I'm not here to tell you I didn't spend money on the game. I absolutely have spent money on WWE Champions. Okay? A good amount of money on WWE Champions over the years. I'm here to fess on this, right? This is the big moment, correct? What ended up happening was, basically, my detractors, seeing that there was this name that said They Call Me DSP and had spent money in the game, went on this insane stalker spree, basically trying to get me banned from the game. All right. What they found is that obviously the makers of the game don't care that I have haters online. They don't give two fucks. So the attempt to get to the company and shit, no one cared, right? So what they ended up doing is they started actually sending in clandestine people into the servers, like the Discord chat of the clan that I was in, the faction I was in, to join and then start tracking conversations, trying to get all this information. Eventually what happened was, I guess, a detractor literally made shit up. They had made a fake Discord conversation between me and the actual guy who had founded this faction I was in, that it was some weird, I can't even remember what it was, but basically it was a fake conversation between me and this person saying that he had agreed to do all kinds of favors and shit if I kept spending money on the game. It was a weird conversation, right? But basically, they doxed the guy. They put it on Kiwi Farm. All right? So because the guy had gotten doxed, now it had escalated. It's not just, they're trying to talk to the company to get my account, kicked. They're not just having trolls join the server. They had doxed the leader of the faction I was in. And he confronted me about it. I'm like, dude, I have nothing to do with this. It's messed up that it happened. I'm really sorry, but obviously I can't control these people for what they're doing or whatever. And all along, I'm denying to the faction that I'm this streamer. I'm like, no, I'm not that streamer. That's not me. Okay? Well, what ended up happening was, even though I had been in that faction for 1-2 years, I don't remember the time frame again. I don't have that data. They kicked me from the faction. Okay? They outright just kicked me from the faction and said, fuck you, get out. Okay? So, after kicking me from the faction, now I had already invested like 2 years into the game. And I didn't want all that time investment and money investment to go to waste. So I went around looking for other factions. And that's when you could see this TJ Gamebox or whatever, who says that I joined his faction, right? And then all of a sudden, my trolls were following me around from faction to faction, joining the faction as well, just to track, information, to see how much money was being spent, to basically dox the other people in the faction, okay? So I probably joined and got kicked out of 2-3 different factions as a result of this, okay? Now, basically, after all that happening, I was fed up. And I was like, I wonder, is there a way around this? Is there a way that I could just, like, protect my identity in the game? Well, the game doesn't let you change your name, all right? So I did actually, at one point, I reached out to the people who ran the game, and I said, is there a way we could change my name so that no one would know that I'm this person? And then they stop harassing everyone around me? Because listen, I want to keep playing your game. I've invested time and money into it, but I can't. Everywhere I go, these people are harassing and doxing everywhere I'm involved in. So the company, who owns the game, who makes the game, said, yeah, we can see if we can change your name or whatever. Okay? So I can't remember the exact specifics of how it all went down. All right? But to make a long story short, they are so dumb. All right? I explained to them, the timing of everything. Like, here's how you do it. What I will do is I will quit a faction that I'm in. All right? You change my name when I'm out of a faction. Now there's no way to track me because no one knows where I am. Then I could join a new faction. Okay? Great. They idiotically changed my name before the time we had agreed to. So everyone saw the name change. I was still in the faction. People were still tracking the account and they saw the name change. They fucked it up. All right? So at this point now, it's like, there's no way at all that I'm going to be able to play this game because everywhere I go and everything I do, these people are going to be tracking it or whatever. So after a series of months kind of laying low, I think like a month or two, I didn't even have a faction. And then I tried to join a couple other factions and they kept following me around these factions to harass and troll and shit like that. Eventually I just gave up and I said, I'm never going to be able to play this game ever again. But I've got a lot of shit invested in this game, okay? Now, I'm going to leave it at that for now. We're going to go back to there, all right? Some of the things that my detractors have said over the years are outright lies. For example, that whole story about the Line app, okay? That's false. Once I did register for Line app, okay? It had nothing to do with WWE Champions at all, all right? It actually had to do with, and why would I lie, right? Right now, I'm literally already telling you this. So why would I lie about this part, okay? I never used Line app to play WWE Champions. The Line app account was because I had a potential sponsorship opportunity lined up. And basically, I found out basically when I started to research it, it was a scam. It was like a scam company who was going to fuck me basically somehow. But they wanted to communicate via Line app. Now, I actually don't know if like it was a detractor or something. I have no clue. All right. But yeah, it was fucked. It was like really fucked. And basically the Line app thing's bullshit. Okay. The Line app thing's complete bullshit. On top of that, a lot of the shit that was said about WWE Champions was outright lies. Okay. So for example, my detractors would go out and be like, Phil spent $2,000, $3,000 in a weekend or whatever on WWE Champions. It's completely wrong. They have no idea what they're talking about. Either they don't know how the game works or they're purposefully overinflating numbers. There were weekends, this is back then, we're talking years ago, where I spent a couple $100 in a weekend on the game. Admit that. They would say I spent $1,200. Where are you getting that information from, right? Again, they could be grossly exaggerating on purpose because they know there's no real way to verify this. If I say something, I'm publicly exposing myself, right? So it's bullshit. Every time they say that, oh, he spent this on the game, he spent that on the game, it's always wrong. In fact, what I can tell you is that in regards to the game, there are always ways to like score points in an event that's not spending. And a lot of the times what it is, it's based on previous spending. So let's say last month you spent some money and you got one of the good characters, the new character. You could use them in the next month, right? To score in that event. But they're saying, oh, the only way that we know how much he spent is because it's based on like coin pulls. So he must have pulled this many coins or this many loot pulls to get this many points in the event. That's not how the game works. But they claim it is. But that's not how the game works at all. So they grossly have always over-exaggerated the spending that I've done in the game. Okay? Now, here's the part. Up to now, all right, all of this kind of makes sense, right? Because it's kind of what my detractors have always said, all right? Now I'm going to tell you the part of the story absolutely nobody fucking knows whatsoever, all right? As of today, I don't have any control or ownership of that account anymore, all right? I sold it. At the times when I was like desperate for money and shit was going down, I sold the account, all right? And you might say, well, how is that possible, right? Well, you may not think it's possible because technically you shouldn't be able to sell an account, but I actually just alluded to this on a stream the other day, and I was wondering if anyone was going to pick up on this, but no one seems to have picked up on it, okay? So the reason I knew you could sell an account was because when I was really, on the original account, before I'd even changed my name, all right, there was another group in the game, and they were called, like, the Haven, all right? And they were one of the top factions in the game. And one of the leaders of the Haven was retiring from the game after, like, 2-3 years of playing it. And they announced this publicly, we're retiring or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So basically, he retires. He publicly announces he's retiring, yet his account is still active. It's still being used in events. People are fighting against this account in events. Like, wait a minute, the guy retired. He made a big public thing about it. So how the hell is his account still working? So people knew that basically you could basically sell your account. Of course, there's no outright way to do it. So basically, what I did, I reached out and I found that there was a market for this. There's third-party resellers. And what you do is you can give them certain criteria and information about the game, login accounts and things that would give them ownership of the account. And you could give that to them for money. And I sold it. All right? That was a few years ago. So I have not had any control over this account for years. That was the single worst thing I could have done. Because what I should have done, I should have just closed the account. Because if I just closed the account, even though people would have accused me of this for years and years, endlessly moving forward, all right, it would have kind of went away, right? But instead, I was like, man, I put so much time and money into this, right? I don't want to, I want to get something out of it, and I sold it like an idiot. And I hate that I did it now, because now I literally have no control over it at all. I can't show you, and like, for example, people will show the account. I literally can't, and I haven't been able to for years. Because it's not my account anymore. I don't have ownership of it. I have nothing to show you to prove that, they'd call me DSP, and then the names that change, that last name was down for the Raptors. I can't show you anything. Okay? I mean, you got morons in the chat, really morons in the chat. Show proof of sale. Do you really think right now I'm going to open up a PayPal account and show you anything? I'm going to open up a bank account and show you anything? You're an idiot. No one would believe it anyway. They just say I photoshopped it, or you know what I mean? I lied about this, I lied about that, right? So it's this simple, all right? You can believe my story or you cannot, all right? Here's what I will tell you. I still have the game, all right? But I don't have it on that phone. I have it on my current phone. It's my personal account. That's a brand new account. Not brand new because I've been using it for a while. I've had this phone for a while. But you guys didn't know that because I never told you. This is not an iPhone, all right? I've had this phone for a while. And this is what I do everything on now for the business. And I have some mobile games on here. It's my personal shit. And it's my right to own my own personal shit. And if I want to play games and stuff on it, I fucking can, all right? That's my right. So I've never had, I haven't had that account on an iPhone for a while. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. Because every time people call me out and I'm like, well, maybe I could prove, I can't prove it. I don't own it. I have no ownership over it. I have no way to do anything. And just to let you guys know, all right, I have an iPad from ages and ages and ages ago. All right, it didn't work. Last night, I plugged it in and I charged it to 100%. I spent an hour trying to get back on the iPad. I got the iPad working. I said, holy shit, maybe if I use the old ass information, I'll have a back door into the account. So I can bring it up tonight and show you guys on stream, here's the account, and it's not mine anymore, but here it is. Guess what? The iPad is so outdated, it doesn't run WWE Champions. You download the latest compatible version, and when you go to play it, the game just crashes endlessly. And it's not just that, it's every game. Like, I tried to open WWE Supercard, that crashes too. Like, every game fucking crashes. So, I couldn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? I have no way to corroborate what I'm saying, but here's the thing. If everything I just admitted, right? If the account was not mine all along, why would I have just admitted what I just admitted to you? I'd have no incentive. I would just keep the story going that it's not my account. Okay? There was no reason for me to admit that. I'm admitting it because it's the truth. It was my account. I did spend on it. The trolls harassed me out of the game. And after years of that, I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to sell it. And I got rid of it. And now I regret it because if I had just closed it, this whole saga would have been over years and years and years and years ago. But I fucked up. Like that act of, oh, I want to get something out of this or whatever, So I'm fessing up to all of you now, all right, that this is the truth of the matter. You don't have to believe me, and I know many of you won't, but that's the truth of the story, that really happened. Now, in regards to all the other shit that's said right there about the bankruptcy and everything, I've had enough of that. I'm just going to put it this way, okay? Because this is what no one wants to actually, like, rationally consider in their fucking heads, all right? So, I file for bankruptcy. I literally do everything I'm told by the bankruptcy attorney, line by line, word for word. All my expenses, all my business, personal, it's all done. It's all correct, okay? We submit it, and what happens is once I submit it and people now know I've now filed for bankruptcy, okay? My trolls mass messaged the judge that you heard in that call. They mass messaged that judge to tell her that I was committing bankruptcy fraud because I played WWE Champions, okay? Mass messaged her. It wasn't just a one or two, all right? She got ridiculous amounts of people contacting her saying, this guy plays WWE Champions, he's committing bankruptcy fraud, all right? So, what you have no clue of, I've talked about this on streams before, but I'll now add it because this is the time to do it right now, right, in the React. After that call happened, the 341 call, all right, basically, the judge contacted myself and my attorney and said, listen, we got a big problem, all right? Never before have I been getting this many notices and messages from people saying, hey, this guy is basically a cheat and a scammer, and he's doing this and that, all right? We need to go over everything because we don't know what to believe or what not, and it's our due diligence to go over everything. I had so much difficulty to get that bankruptcy go through, all right? For example, what June just mentioned right there, he said in the bankruptcy documents, there was a thing for pets, and it said that I didn't own any pets, but I did. Everyone knew I owned Jasper. My trolls wrote the judge and said, he owns a cat. Here's all the video evidence of it. So the judge went back to my bankruptcy attorney and said, why don't you have Jasper listed in these documents? Now, I want you to think about this, all right? Letter of the law versus spirit of the law. The letter of the law is every single thing should be done exactly right at every moment. But spirit of the law is, in a bankruptcy, really what's going to happen? Is someone going to go after someone's personal cat as an asset in a bankruptcy? No, not unless it's like an insanely rare cat that's worth $5 million. Jasper Kitty is a normal domestic tabby cat. The court's not going to go after my cat in a bankruptcy proceeding. So it was an oversight that my tax attorney made that she didn't list it originally in the documents. There was an addendum to what you saw there where we had to go back and redo the documents and resubmit them to the judge to actually break out that I owned the domestic cat. We weren't able to go through the bankruptcy until we did that, okay? There were several times we had to do that, where because the detractors looked at that document, because it was public, they kept messaging the judge, this is an error, this is an error, this is an error, this is an error. So we had to redo a whole bunch of shit, okay? Now, we had a meeting that was so fucking long and arduous and tedious, all right? We had to go through every line item. Because did you hear what the judge said in that call? She said, I want all the statements, 6 months of statements of all of your PayPals and all of your bank accounts, right? I want to see it all. And we had to go through all of it. All of it. All right? Line by line. We went through every expense. I explained them all away. I had to explain the nature of my job. I had to explain the nature of my business. I had to explain the nature of what WWE Champions was. I had to explain everything. This is not anything that people usually do in a bankruptcy. This was like the nightmare bankruptcy for me because it was so bad because the trolls interjected themselves so bad into it. All right? At the end of the day, right? When it was all said and done, and it took hours of going through this shit, right? The bankruptcy was granted. The judge says, everything you said looks good, makes sense. It's all correct. Bankruptcy granted. Okay? So, if it was good enough for my bankruptcy attorney, if it was good enough for the judge in the case of my bankruptcy, if all the data was right according to them, because we went through all of it, then what is wrong with the data? And it's funny because you could ask me, well, specifically, Phil, what is this line item and what was this expense? I don't know. All right? Literally all year, I track my expenses of all kinds. Some of them are personal, some of them are business. I don't know. I track them all in like a big spreadsheet, and that goes to a tax attorney. And every year, there's questions that shoot back at me, and I answer them all truthfully, and we do them. Okay? They're all done. So it's, you know what I'm saying? They're fine. There's no issue with my taxes. They're done properly. It was scrutinized by both a tax attorney, by both a bankruptcy attorney and a bankruptcy judge. We went line by line through all of it, and they were okay with it. So there's no issue. You understand? There never was an issue. This is something that's completely blown out of proportion by people who just don't know what the hell they're talking about. All right? I'm sorry. And that's, no, I'm not going to open up fucking financial documentation. I'm not going to open up my bank account. I'm not going to open up apps and fucking ledgers. You're not getting that. All right? I want to know why. I'm going to tell you why. There's two reasons why. Because number one, if I were to open up all of that documentation, okay, show you line by line all of that shit, my detractors, who we have seen throughout the course of this documentary are insanely obsessed with me, would use it to destroy me. They would find shit in there ultimately that they could hone in on a company and stuff like that. For example, we didn't get to it yet. We're going to get to bank leaks and all of that shit. Okay, we're going to get to that shit. Where it's already shown that if they're given even a little piece of information, they could do shit with it. Okay? So, FYI, no, it's too much of a personal risk. You understand? It is. It's too much of a personal risk for me to open up information like that to the internet. Now, there's the second reason why I'm not going to fucking show anything. Because it's none of anyone's fucking business. None. There's only certain parties who need to be involved who need to know this kind of stuff, right? Bankruptcy attorney, bankruptcy judge, tax attorney, IRS, who I file with every year. That's who needs the information. That's also who gets the information. And all the information is legal, true, and correct every single fucking time that I've done it. So it's none of anyone's business what it is, how it is broken down. Even I don't know because I don't do it. I pay professionals to do my stuff. That's the point. You pay professionals to do it right, to put the right stamp of approval on it, to make sure it's being done right. And I pay a lot of money to do it. I pay over $2,000 a year to get that shit done. Because I don't want to fuck it up at all. You know what I'm saying? I literally don't want to fuck it all up, right? So it's that simple. It's none of anyone's fucking business at all. People say, oh, well, you're a public figure. That's correct. It's still none of your business. What your business is your interaction with me on a stream every day. Whether it be we're talking, we're hanging out, I'm playing a video game, and you're watching my stream. Whether or not you're having a good time, if you like that, you support it or not. And that's it. That's where that relationship ends. You don't get to know every possible thing about every piece of my life. You understand what I'm saying? That's wild that people would think, well, now, because you had a bankruptcy, now you literally have to open up every document ever from your entire life. Every expense must be fucking accounted for. No, every expense does not have to be accounted for. All right? The people who need that information get it, and it's all correct. Every single fucking time, without fail. All right? So I'm putting it to bed right now. All right? It's that simple. I have been completely untruthful with the internet about this up to now because I was hoping that eventually people would forget about it. It would go away. This is the one thing that the detractors have always had me on because they know I can't show you evidence without putting myself at personal risk. I will not show you evidence because it will put myself at personal risk. You can believe what I just said or not. The truth is, if what I just said was untrue, why would I have admitted to it? Right? What do I have to gain? Nothing. I should have just kept my fucking mouth shut, right? But this is the truth of the matter. Do you understand? See what I'm saying?